What's going on, Flock? Stream number 2 today. It is 4:33 in the late afternoon, December 20th. It's a Friday leading into week 16 of this NFL regular season, which, of course, is round 2 of the rivalry between the Ravens and Steelers. Welcome inside the channel. I'm glad you're here. Happy holidays to you and yours. I'm Bobby Trosset, and as always, this is where I bring you Baltimore sports and beyond. This afternoon's live stream is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. More on them in just a bit, including my Ravens-Browns ticket giveaway, which is super easy to enter. All that and more, including the least surprising news of the week, maybe even the month. The Ravens have parted ways and officially waived veteran wide receiver Diontae Johnson after one of the, if not the most, underwhelming tenures that a Raven ever did have. Diontae was brought in prior to the trade deadline last month, played in just a slew of games, 5 total targets, 1 reception, and 1 massive headache. That's for sure. We're going to get into all that and more coming up in this episode. The guest lines are open. More information on that and the specific link can be found in the pinned comment in the live chat. Let's get into it. The Ravens just announced a short while ago that, again, to no surprise to anyone, Diontae Johnson has been waived. And of course, I brought in the wrong slides. Bear with me for just 1 second. Give me 1 second here. That's what happens when you rush into a 4:30. I was actually in the middle of watching episode 2 of the Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix, and then the news broke, and I knew I was going live today anyway, but I didn't think it was going to be this early, and sure enough, I get burnt for it. But anyway, here come the slides. Let's have a day. Let's have an afternoon. Please like the video on the way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I'm dropping my daily live content. And this one is starting to trickle into the timelines. The NFL just picked it up. And of course, it does not come as a surprise. Diontae Johnson is no longer a Raven. And as a result, a couple corresponding moves, one of which has everything to do with Anthony Miller, the practice squad wide receiver that the Ravens brought in during training camp. He will be activated to the game day roster, as will defensive back Desmond King, who made his debut as a Raven last weekend, stole some of Tylan Wallace's punt return duties, and got a little bit of coverage action in there as well as a reserve defensive back when the game was out of hand. Okay, so the final stat line in Baltimore for Diontae: 4 games, 5 targets, just a catch and 6 yards. And again, 1 big headache. And John Harbaugh, you could just read it all over him that was exactly what this situation became.
I don't know if the knee injury. Is Diontae Johnson available? I know it didn't look like he played.
Yeah, I'm not really ready to comment on that right now. I will be. Just don't have enough information right now to talk about that.
One of the many press conferences that Harbs was essentially left without words, and obviously it was all strategic. Now, others around the national media circle certainly had plenty of words, and a former Steeler by the name of Ryan Clark was among them.
As a brotherhood, he should never play again.
Ever again?
Ever again?
Ever.
Why would you want him on your team?
So you're going to judge him in his... I have a hard time judging a man in his worst moment. It's been worse atrocities that happened on a football team than him refusing to go in. Well, so Diontae Johnson should never play again.
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Why would I want him on my team?
But I think...
And what about Shannon Sharp?
Raven, is this situation something or nothing?
No, because he's a Jag. He's just a guy. That's not Derrick Henry. That's not Lamar Jackson. That's not Zay Flowers. That's not Marlon Humphrey or Hamilton. That's not one of those guys. He's a guy. But I just want to know when did this become fashionable? When would this become in vogue? Nah, I'm good. I ain't going to the game.
That's what I mean. That's why I said to you, there's like so much happening, and I don't understand this. Am I getting that old?
Yeah.
And I'm like, these young kids, I can't, but like, that's what it feels like, though.
But we've coddled them so much. They've always gotten what they wanted, Stephen A. They've always been the guy. Mm-hmm. And getting the playing time. I'm not getting the opportunities. I'm not getting the targets. What's the problem? Well, I'm just going to go home. I ain't got no ball to take home with me. I'm just going to go home. I'm not going in the game. I don't know when that happened, how it happened.
And announcing it.
Yeah, but
in professional football. Like,
but
this
for
is
coaches,
beyond me.
but for them, for this to get out, Kyle Shanahan was quick to the podium.
Yes.
Devontae, he didn't want to go back in there. He said he didn't feel it. He didn't want to go back in the game.
Yeah.
And Deontay, same thing. But you see what happened? Had this issue in Pittsburgh. Teams will tolerate you until they can replace you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Remember that. That's just not football teams. That's on any job. You can be great. They're going to tolerate said behavior until they can replace said behavior. And then they're going to move on.
Yeah.
And the Ravens have done exactly that. Those words aged like fine wine from Unk. And now the question becomes, how do you replace Diontae Johnson? Well, I guess the good news for Baltimore is that there's not a whole lot to replace in terms of what he actually put forth statistically. So Anthony Miller, for the time being, will make his Ravens debut as a reserve wide receiver and play in the NFL for the first time in 3 years. Here's the deal. Nelson Aguilar, after slamming his head on the MetLife turf on Sunday in the Meadowlands, has not cleared concussion protocol. So he was downgraded to out earlier this afternoon. And we know that Rashad Bateman, according to beat reporters, was seen in the locker room yesterday in a walking boot. And he's dealing with a foot injury, and he's listed as questionable as a result. So that's where the Ravens stand, right? And so I can't help but think, for the life of me, how much Diontae Johnson is leaving on the table right now because of his selfishness, because of his entitlement, right? This false sense of entitlement, the fact that the Ravens owed him something. And he felt so within his rights that when his number was called in a big moment against a big-time NFC opponent a few weeks ago in the Philadelphia Eagles, and he didn't answer the bell. You talk about a certain level of selfishness. Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman and Lamar and everybody that was at the podium handled this with class. They handled this with professionalism. But make no mistake about it, it's hard not to believe that there isn't the same exact sentiments that San Francisco aired out there when Devondre Campbell betrayed them just a couple weeks ago. George Kittle ripped him. Charvarius Ward ripped him. His head coach, Kyle Shanahan, ripped him. And I would have a lot of reason to believe that there is a similar sentiment in that Baltimore locker room. They just chose to handle it differently, not through the public eye. What Deontay's leaving on the table is clear. One, a chance to prove that he is indeed worthy of another contract in this league, whether it be in Baltimore or elsewhere. Given now the issues in the wide receiver room, he could have absolutely been in position for potential wide receiver 3, definitely, or wide receiver 2 workload tomorrow in a big-time game against his former team, going after potential revenge, going after an AFC North title and a playoff berth. And you certainly weren't getting that in Carolina. This is a player that oozes from the outside looking in, knowing this situation, putting the reports together. This just oozes of selfishness. This oozes of entitlement. And this oozes with good luck getting another job in this league, Deontay. It's a what have you done for me lately league. And any one of you out there that think that the Ravens owed this guy something, he was brought in to be insurance for a wide receiver room that is as built up and invested in that it's ever been throughout the Lamar era. And I know that's not saying much because, again, the standard is not exactly been set high, given some of their misses in the draft, given their lack of investment in free agency aside from the OBJ overpay a year ago. But you know where I'm at. Rashad and Zay are two of the top 7 separators through 15 weeks. Zay is inbound for a potential 1,000 yards receiving season, and Rashad Bateman is having a career year with 7 total touchdowns so far through 14 games played. He had 4 his previous 3 seasons, and I was going to say he's healthy, but that obviously changed this week at practice. There is so much being left out on the table right now if you're Diontae Johnson, but I want to start to turn my attention to where the Ravens will go from here. Because to me, you got to lean heavily on your tight ends tomorrow. And if history repeats itself, the Ravens are going to be in trouble if they have to do that, because Mark Andrews, who just set the franchise record for total touchdowns, has not scored 1 in 10 games against Pittsburgh. They have had a plan for him, and they have executed said plan, much like they've done with Lamar. It's night and day against the other 2 teams in the division. Mark Andrews has played 26 games. I get it. It's a bigger sample size, but he's played 26 total games against Cleveland and Cincinnati, 18 total touchdowns. Again, 10 against the Steelers, not 1 tallied up so far. This means that, look, Isaiah Likely's had a relatively quiet year. If you're tracking him on production, a lot of that's because of the emergence of Mark, really over the last 10 weeks. But you need big contributions from the tight ends. And I don't care if TJ Watt is 75% or south of 50%. You know he's going to be a game wrecker. You know he's going to be a big assignment for Roger Rosengarten on the right-hand side of that line. And so with that in mind, the middle of the field, the quick game, 2 key components to getting things moving, getting the chains moving early as Lamar and Todd Monken attack Pittsburgh's defense. This is a staggering statistic right here, because for as productive as Mark has been and as dominant as he's been inside the 20s in the red zone, Pittsburgh has kept him in check, much like Kansas City has. And it's a similar game plan that's deployed by the Chiefs and the Steelers. And it's no coincidence that those are the 2 teams that have had the most success through 7 years in their head-to-head matchups with Lamar Jackson. If Rashad Bateman can't go, you're looking at a wide receiver room that will consist of Zay Flowers, Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker, and Anthony Miller. That would be the projected look, aside from the tight ends, of course, with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely being viable pass catcher options for Lamar. I know a lot of you are singing Tez's praises, and it was a beautiful toe tap play on Sunday in the Meadowlands. I gotta tell you, I have to urge you to pump the brakes. Tez is raw. He was inactive 8 games on the year leading into last Sunday. And there was a reason why he was given an opportunity. I'm not saying he hadn't earned it, but the door was wide open because of the opponent, because of where the game was at that point. I'm not here to poo-poo or rain on Tez's parade. I hope he develops. I hope he lives up to even more than his 4th-round draft process. And I hope a lot of what everybody saw evaluating him down the second half stretch when he became eligible to play at UNC last year, I hope that comes to fruition at the NFL level. But what I also know is what I've heard. And what I also know is the reality that he is a rookie, and this is Ravens Steelers. I don't necessarily see him being thrust into big-time target share opportunities with the division on the line, knowing just how raw he is. And Evan, I'm with you. Injuries were a part of it, but injuries weren't a part of the entire season for Tez. He wasn't injured all year long. That certainly halted part of his growth, I'm sure, for his rookie season. But I'm telling you things that I heard throughout training camp, throughout the evaluation process, throughout OTAs. When you earn opportunities in the summer. And so the Ravens find themselves in a position where this is a thin wide receiver room, which begs the question. You're not bringing him in tomorrow, but do you give Odell Beckham Jr. a call? Odell cleared waivers earlier this week, which, of course, wasn't a surprise after Miami cut him. And so, in theory, he could be brought in. Is he a needle-moving acquisition? Absolutely not. But clearly, he was the right fit locker room. I know Deontay wasn't the right fit for this team, that's for sure, on a number of levels. But perhaps do you bring Odell in for insurance? Even if it is a small sample size of targets over the next month. Why not? Are you guys telling me that you'd be more comfortable with Devontae over Odell if we're talking about 2 or 3 targets per game for the next several weeks? I can't confidently say that. What makes you guys confident about that? Because of one Giants game? I urge you respectfully. keep say that I'm tripping. I mean, look, call in and tell me why I'm tripping. Pump the brakes. Come on. No rose-colored glasses on this Friday. I hope that Devontae Walker develops into a complimentary 2 or 3 wide receiver for the Ravens. But to think that all of a sudden you're going to thrust him into Ravens Steelers after a 1 toe tap touchdown against the Giants? Come on, guys. What are we doing here? The injury report looks as you see on the screen here. And again, there's a couple updates. Nelson Aguilar, as I mentioned, has been ruled out. Jalen Armour-Davis has as well, corner. JAD just cannot stay healthy. I honestly feel for that guy. A former 4th rounder from 2022. I think he and Pepe Williams were draft classmates. Rashad Bateman's listed as questionable, as we discussed, as is Daniel Fa'alele with a knee. Justice Hill, Adisa Isaac, Sanusi Kane, TJ Tampa recently activated off IR, and Ardarius Washington, all good to go. No designations. They're ready to roll. Did not pop up on the injury report. We know this was prior to the cut and the waiving of Deontay Johnson, so take him off that list. And then Odafe Owe is listed as questionable at outside linebacker. And the pressure is going to be key for an offense that's lacking a true target. And my, oh my, when they don't have 14, and when specifically Russell Wilson's offense does not have number 14, George Pickens, out there, this is a straight up different group. They drop off, and they drop off quickly in several categories when George Pickens is not available. They go from 11th to dead last in yards per play. They go from 18th to 32nd, again, dead last in success rate, and 13th to dead last in explosive play rate. Make no mistake about it. When you take George Pickens away from Russell Wilson, this team becomes one-dimensional. The Ravens had a tough time with Pickens in Week 11. He lit them up for 8 receptions and 89 yards, and Brandon Stevens, unfortunately, was on the wrong end of those statistics at times throughout that game. Aside from that, there was a drop-off in receptions. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren each had 4, but a lot of those were check downs in the flat. Darnell Washington had 2 for 42. He's their tight end. Pat Freiermuth, I expect him to be involved in the pass-catching game for Russell. Calvin Austin III will be an option for him. Van Jefferson. But the point is, there's nobody that really scares you. When you take Pickens out of their offense, there's nobody that scares you. And so, unless the Steelers dominate the ground game, I just don't see how they're going to be able to move the ball. And that was sort of the case even with Pickens the first time around. Again, remember, this was a game that final score was 18-16. Boswell had to kick 6 field goals, and how pathetic that 6 field goals wins you a game. That's just Ravens Steelers. I get it. But even with Pickens, Russ could not move the ball effectively against the Ravens. I know he had a moon ball in there for Pickens at one point. I think Darnell Washington had a couple hookups as well for big chunk plays. But again, that was at the beginning of the turnaround for the pass defense. And now, 4 or 5 weeks under their belt. New defensive personnel on the back end with Ardarius and Kyle holding it down as deep safeties. Trenton Simpson being demoted, which has freed up Roquan, at least in a small sample size, because of Malik Harrison and Chris Board's efforts. And Big Mike Pierce in the middle part of that defensive line. A recent activation off of IR, and we know what he does as a run stuffer specialist, the interior push that he and Travis Jones bring to the game. As much as I want to say it's going to be a 10-point spread, and I know a lot of people think that it's going to be a 10-point win, 7-point win for the Ravens, I'm still going under a touchdown. One possession game, 24-20 Ravens in a game where can they withstand, can they be resilient when inevitably the Ravens-Steelers funky play or the funky penalty or the phantom call or the turnover or the ridiculous play like Peyton Wilson put on Justice Hill the first time around, which goes down as a Lamar Jackson interception. He's got 3 this year. 2 of them were drops, and the other was an all-time effort play made by Peyton Wilson wrestling the ball from Justice Hill. We all remember that. Can they withstand that type of obscure Ravens-Steelers reality? Because that's what happens. We all know it. You guys have been watching this probably longer than I have, this rivalry. We all know it. It's a matter of when, not if. Russell Wilson was super complimentary of Lamar this week. Lamar is closing in on 109 yards. He needs 109 yards to pass the all-time quarterback rushing record, which is held by Michael Vick, who was just named the head coach at Norfolk State. Here's Russ.
Taking the rushing yards by a quarterback that Michael Vick, the record that Michael Vick has. Yeah. What's impressed you maybe about the way that Lamar runs the ball as a quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, I think guys like Michael Vick, Lamar, there's been some special guys running the football. He's a unique individual. I think that anytime he has the football in his hands, he's special. It's been cool to watch. Just over the years, people doubt him. And his ability to make plays. I think anytime you're rushing for over 5,000, 6,000, how many yards he's got, it's pretty remarkable in itself, no matter what position you play. And then also too, he's been able to do it, throwing the football as well. So, he's a tremendous football player.
Along those lines, when he breaks Michael Vick's record, would that solidify him in your mind as the best ever dual threat quarterback?
That's a pretty good question. I haven't really thought about it. I think he's definitely one of them for sure. You think about the greats like Michael Vick. He was one that just really lit up the whole stadium. The guy from Virginia. By the way, congrats to Michael Vick on the Norfolk State. My grandfather was president of Norfolk State for a long time. But I think that guys like Lamar for sure. Michael Vick. Those guys are unique individuals in what he can do. So I couldn't disagree with it. That's for sure.
Some high praise there from Russ. Again, on Lamar, who is having an MVP-like year. And look at what he's done on 10-plus yard throws this season, a 97.1 PFF grade. Again, a lot of that has to do with Rashad Bateman. And that PFF grade is first among all quarterbacks. Again, Rashad is currently listed as questionable. Nelson Aguilar has been ruled out. Deontay Johnson's been waived. Anthony Miller's been called up from the practice squad. Could make his Ravens debut and his NFL debut since the 2021 season. The former Chicago Bear. If you're just getting caught up, that's what's happening. The guest lines are open. For those of you who are asking me to open them, they've been open. You can go to the pinned comment that I currently have in the live chat, and that is how you log in and pop on the show via the guest lines. But first, tonight is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage, and I've been working with PRMI now for 14 plus months, and they've just been exceptional partners. And with the holiday season around the corner, you might be looking for a way to access extra cash for gifts and celebrations. If that's the case, I got a solution for you. It's called Primary Residential Mortgage's Cash Out Refinance, which lets you tap into your home's equity to access the funds you need for your holiday shopping and festivities. And on top of that, PRMI is going to cover your closing costs up to $750. This is this is exclusive to Bobby Baltimore subscribers, okay? So as you go throughout your home buying process, there's obviously costs that come up along the way. They are willing to waive your closing costs. They're going to cover it up to $750 on applications that are submitted by February 9th of 2025. Okay, all you have to do is click on the link that's at the top of the show notes. It's also in the live chat as a pinned comment, which will bring you to my landing page. And it's super easy from there. Again, this is my landing page. You can contact them easily by filling out this form right here. And then if you just go click this little yellow button right here, you can start your application process. It's a great incentive that they're offering to you as a Bobby Baltimore subscriber. I'm super appreciative of their offer to take advantage of it. Again, you can simply apply through the PRMI Mid-Atlantic website. Just mention my name as you go throughout the process so you can get that offer redeemed, and consider reaching them out today. You can make this holiday season even brighter. I appreciate you guys for being here. Over 1,100 of you joining me on this Friday afternoon. It's going to be a jam-packed show. There's obviously a lot of interest given what's taking place right now with the Ravens, who just announced that they waived Diontae Johnson. Before we open up the guest lines, Preston Automotive Group, kind enough to be doing a giveaway, a ticket giveaway. 2 free tickets are up for grabs right now for Ravens Steelers, which could be a division-deciding game depending on what happens tomorrow. Ravens Browns is set for January 5th, or I believe some point that weekend. I'm not sure if it's Saturday or Sunday. It says January 5th here on the graphic. I don't know if that's official yet, but regardless, it's going to be at some point that weekend. You can enter right now by going to Bobby Baltimore's Instagram page, aka mine, and doing the following. It's super simple. All you got to do, follow Preston Automotive Group and myself, if you don't already, which is at Bobby Baltimore, at Preston Automotive Group. All the instructions are in the comment section of this caption. And then just tag a friend in the comments. People have been doing it all day. I mean, entries are flying in here. There's well over 100, but still, that's not bad. It's not a bad percentage. So thanks to Preston for this opportunity. I hope you guys will take some time to participate, and the winner will be announced on Monday. Best of luck. To the guest lines we go. I appreciate you guys for being here again. If you're just tuning in, Diontae Johnson has officially been waived. If you are a new caller, you will get priority. If you want to call in and give me your thoughts, please do so by clicking on the link that I have included in the live chat. It's a pinned comment right now. Let's go to RC. Good to see you, brother. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, man.
What you got on your mind on this Friday?
Well, I think first and foremost, touching on the Diontae Johnson situation. I mean, obviously, you never know what's going on behind the scenes. So I try not to be one of those people who's like, okay, well, he's a terrible person, because we simply don't know. But I will say that anytime you have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make your career in any very highly sought-after field, I mean, the fact that you're not going to go in because of whatever the case is it must have either been a very serious situation, or there's a lot of there might have been some character issues on his part. And judging by his past, I can't count out the character issues.
And, can I just interject too? Like, in no way, right? And I'm not saying you're putting words in my mouth this way, but in no way am I questioning him as a human, right? This is solely based on the track record. This is about in-person type of character traits, trends that we've seen from him that date back to the demise for his career in Pittsburgh, the way that it ended for him in Carolina, and now, again, not even 2 months in the building at a reputable organization where so often, right, how many times can you think about how many players that were maligned through the media, that were misunderstood, that had, maybe faulty kind of track records, inconsistent track records. They come to Baltimore and bang, things change, right? Marcus Peters comes to mind. I know he and Harbaugh had their sideline spat, but Marcus Peters is somebody that comes to mind. And it kind of feels like Diontae never even gave himself the chance for that experience. And you wonder what kind of conversations happen behind closed doors. You wonder if promises were made at all. You wouldn't think that's the way that the Ravens conduct business.
Yeah.
But I think what's frustrating me as I sort of consume a lot of content within the fan base, whether on any social media platform surrounding this issue, and I'm not saying this is a universal belief by any stretch, but those that feel like he didn't get a chance. That to me is frustrating because he didn't give himself a chance. What it comes across as, and just it reeks of entitlement, it reeks of selfishness, and he has himself to blame. Think about the situation that he would be in today. He would be prepared. He would be going to bed tonight on his mind, knowing that he's going to have an opportunity in a 4:30 slot on Fox in Week 16 to not only potentially get revenge against his former squad, to not only knock them out of the race potentially of the AFC North, to not only get potential wide receiver 2 or 3 workflow, but also prove to the rest of the league, whether it's in Baltimore or not, that he's worthy of another contract. And that's what he left on the table. And so it's frustrating to me when people immediately, because of maybe the track record of the Ravens when it comes to the wide receiver position, are quick to point the finger at the organization. Why? Why is that? That to me is frustrating. And so sorry to rant. This is your time, but I wanted to get that in there.
No, I definitely can understand that point of view and perspective. I think ultimately, I think we can both agree on the fact that there definitely has to be some kind of character issue there. So something going on. And I agree with you. Like, it's funny when you make those crazy decisions and then all of a sudden an opportunity pops up like this. Now, I use that as a segue. I think a lot of us are high on Tez Walker. I think he is definitely a great prospect, and I think he will have some opportunities, tomorrow. But I would probably, again, I agree with you in cautioning that he is a rookie. I think he will be impactful, but we won't know until he gets into the heat of battle. I mean, I think that I think I was seeing that he has a 4.3, and he's pretty tall. And I think he has the opportunity, but we really won't know. So I think he's going to be fine. And I also wanted to, throw out there, this game is going to really show what the Ravens are made of. Honestly, man, this has kind of been like an up and down year. I didn't expect it to turn out like this, but we're here, and this game is going to tell us a lot about what's going on with this team and where this team could potentially go. This is a major game.
No question, RC. Appreciate it, man. Enjoy it tomorrow. Have a good holiday.
Thank you, too. Bye.
Guest lines are open, guys, and I know you have a lot on your mind today. Deontay Johnson's no longer a Raven. Rashad Bateman is listed as questionable. Nelson Aguilar has been ruled out due to concussion protocol. Anthony Miller has been called up from the practice squad, and that is where we stand right now at just after 5 o'clock, leading into a Saturday game. So today feels like a Saturday in Ravens world just because there's no media availability and they're making call-up decisions, which is what they just did from the practice squad. Let's continue to work through the lines. If you're interested in calling in, there is a pinned comment in the live chat with an access link. All you got to do is click on it and come on the show. We'd love to get your thoughts. Extra Butter, what's good, man? Welcome in. You got yourself muted for the time being there. What's going on?
What's going on, Bobby? Can you hear me?
Good to see you, dude. What's going on?
Can you hear me clear?
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're loud and clear.
All right, good. For the Deontay Johnson situation, we don't know the whole story, Bobby. Now, I'm not making excuses for what he has done. There's absolutely no excuses for that because at the end of the day, the team needed you. So, I'm not going to really speak much on that, but far as going forward, the moves that the Ravens have made, I don't agree with Anthony Miller at all. He may be a veteran, but if the Ravens want to make a real run, you need to let the young bucks get some reps in.
Who are you talking about? Dayton Wade?
Yes. Dayton Wade and Tez Walker needs to make full debuts in this Steelers game. Why? Nobody has any film on them. Now, I get that Walker and Wade may not get the playbook in time for his game starting, but I just feel as though.
Yeah, but Butter, hold up though. Miller has more tape in the NFL because he's obviously been around. He's a veteran, but the dude hasn't played a snap in regular season since 2021. So like, you're relying on tape from his Chicago days, which is 3-4 years ago. So I'm with you. There's an excitement about certain players right? That pop in the preseason, that pop last week in Tez. And we saw the scouting report on him coming out of UNC. Fast as hell, a vertical threat, things of that nature. But he fell to the 4th round for a reason. He was inactive for 8 games leading into last weekend for a reason. Now, as Evan said earlier on, some of that was due to injury. I get that. To me, when you pop in the preseason, you have to take that with a grain of salt. When you pop in garbage time in the second half last weekend on a beautiful toe tap, I'm not taking anything away from Tez. Again, some of you putting words in my mouth when it comes to the Devontae coverage. I'm not poo-pooing him at all. That is not what I'm intending to do. I'm trying to look at this objectively, realistically, and they're given an opportunity to a veteran who, by the way, had instant connection with Lamar over training camp. Anthony Miller did. Now, again, it's training camp, and they're going up against not necessarily the ones, and it's training camp for a reason. This is a playoff team in the Pittsburgh Steelers in a bitter rivalry. I'm not expecting Anthony Miller to log, important snaps coming up tomorrow. He's more of an insurance policy because of the practice squad call-up. I'm expecting the tight ends to be heavily utilized, Zay to have a big day, them to use Derrick Henry as much as possible, and Tylen and Devontae maybe to get a few targets here and there. That's my thought.
I definitely agree with that, Bobby. I definitely can see that happening just off the simple fact yards and points need to be put up on the board at the end of the day. And I also think that JT is going to have a comeback game this game.
Ooh, sticking your neck out there on that one, huh?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes, if I fail, then I fail. But I absolutely will not lose faith, in my opinion, the best kicker in NFL history. Now, I know a lot of people says, far as the positioning for the rest of the special teams when it's time to kick, I'm just going off the numbers, Bobby. When Sam Cook was our punter and our ball holder for Justin was looking automatic. Justin's struggles didn't really start until last year, and Jordan Stout holds the ball for him. Now, I'm not sure if it's the way the ball is being snapped, or if the way Jordan is holding the ball. But in my honest belief, I don't fully give the blame on Justin. I really feel as though more investigation needs to be done for is how the ball is being held and how it's being snapped. Because when Sam Cook was our punter and our holder, Justin looked like a god. Now he looks like a human. I mean, it may not be related, but I just feel as though it should be investigated more. Because I'm not losing no type of faith in Justin whatsoever. Not for what he has done for this organization over the years. Like you always say on your show, you can sit down. Well, let's just say you gotta use the bathroom or whatnot, and JT Ray kick a 50, 60 yarder, 70 yarder. You can go take that bathroom break and know that we got those 3 points on that board. Now,
Hey, Butter, I got a ton of guests on the line, my man, so I got to cut you off, but I appreciate the sentiment, and thanks for the call, dude. I always see you mixing it up in the live chat, so thank you.
Definitely. I'll definitely be back as well, but
all right, man. Catch up with you soon. Have a great holiday. Merry Christmas. I kind of thought we put that to bed a few weeks ago, to be honest, the whole Jordan Stout issue. I know Sarah and I covered it. Isaac Punts is an analyst that's on YouTube that was looking at that and suggested that based on some highlights. But after listening to Matt Stover, after listening to Jay Feely, I'm not with that. I think it's a Justin thing that he's got to work through. It's the most significant slump of his storied career. He had a bye week to get himself right. Spent a lot of that time in the facility. Was 5 for 5 in extra points a week ago, which is progress. He didn't attempt one field goal, and I'm sure John Harbaugh moving forward is going to have to be mindful of his decision-making process when trotting him out there, especially in a Ravens-Steelers game that was decided by 2 points the first time around. But remember, Jordan Stout was on that for the 66-yarder in Detroit a few years ago, the record-breaking kick. I'm not quite there. Appreciate you, Butter. Guest lines are open, guys, if you'd like to call in. Over 1,200 of you joining me concurrently. We've got over 800 of you, over 700 of you on YouTube, over 400 of you on Twitter. If you're in the Twitter space, I would love for you to come over to YouTube. It's a lot easier to interact. It's a lot easier to pop on via the guest line, and you can do so by clicking on the link that's included in the live chat as a pinned comment. Super easy to do so. Let's get Dre involved. What's up, Dre? Good to see you, brother.
Yo, what up? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So with this release, I think we kind of knew that this was coming down the pipeline. I think some people had questions as far as, were we afraid that he might end up on another team, another playoff contender to go up against us? But I think the amount of headache that he's caused in such a short period of time, the Ravens didn't feel like it was warranted for him to be holding up a roster spot and causing the confusion that he caused. So going forward, what I would say is I just hope that Ravens fans who are used to, I'm not going to say mediocrity at the wide receiver position, but I think we've gotten complacent with the idea of we don't need the number one wide receiver to win. We don't need one of those guys. I don't want anybody out there, because I've seen it on Twitter already. This is why the Ravens don't pursue these type of guys. This is why. Nah, that's not what we're going to do. We're not doing that. We still want to pursue a true number one wide receiver who has go up and get it potential, has a big frame that can make sure he wins 50-50 balls. We love Zay. We love what Bate is doing right now. But Bate is not a long enough sample size because this is his first real, well, last year he was relatively healthy as well, but this is his first real healthy year. He's putting up the touchdowns. He's giving us some yards. Zay still consistent.
This is his first extended success since he had a solid half of football his rookie year.
Yeah.
You know, the first half of his rookie year is when, and let me just do it. Let me just interject real quick because I need to correct myself. I was thinking of Nick Moore, who was the long snapper for that historic kick in Detroit a few years ago. Jordan was not drafted until 2022. So that was indeed Sam Cook. He had not yet retired yet and phased out into a consultant. So thank you, chat, for correcting me on that. Continue, Dre.
Yeah, but I just don't want Ravens fans to believe the narrative that the number one wide receiver position, we're just being okay with saying, well, we got Bate and Zay now. We don't need one of those guys. Please, y'all, please. The Ravens, every team, even in our division, I'm not even going to look at the league, but like I've been saying over and over again, every team in our division has at least one guy that they can throw that ball up to, that can come down with it one-on-one and be a man beater consistently. I love what Zay can do between the numbers and in motion and all that, but he's just not catching the ball over top of nobody's head. He don't got the Steve Smith frame, right? Zay has that kind of shifty ability. He's not the short, stout kind of wide receiver that's going to go up and catch it over your head. So, and then real quick on the Devontae Walker piece, I think also that we got to also look at the history of how Ravens wide receivers are developed. It is a what do we call it when you work at like a union and you've been at the union for so long and you get the grace because you've been there longer? Seniority.
Seniority.
Ravens take the wide receiver, or most positions on their team, they go by seniority rules, right? This guy's been around. Let him work his way. If he's not earning the position, we'll give him the time to work his way out of it before we give somebody the time to jump into that position. So I think with Devontae Walker, I really believe that the Ravens have coddled Rashad Bateman, not bringing in true competition at the number 2 wide receiver position, not wanting Devontae Walker to come up because, mind you, everything that people talk about, what he's done in practices and all of this type of stuff, he's looking relatively good out there. I really believe that when the Ravens made that unbridled commitment to Rashad Bateman, they took a step back from a guy like Devontae Walker.
So few thoughts on all that. The Ravens have had very little stretches of issues this year, right, with consistently moving the football. Can we agree on that?
Right.
They consistently move the football, they consistently chain move it, and they have a variety of ways of doing so. As you see up on the screen, they have the number 1 ranked red zone offense, the number 1 total offense, the 2nd ranked rushing offense, the 3rd ranked passing offense. They're 3rd in scoring, right? And they're coming off a bye, of course. So that's probably slightly affected because of that. They're 2nd on 3rd down, and they're 6th on 4th down. So in a sense, we are nitpicking here. But in fairness, the Ravens have not yet gotten to where they want to go. And it seems as if there's a growing collective universal belief among NFL folks, whether it's past, present, future, whatever, that Lamar is the best player in today's game, right? And so with that, there will be a continued heightened sense of urgency, a heightened sense of dissection and coverage when it comes to him as a player and the organization as a team builder.
Right.
And so with that in mind, I don't necessarily disagree with your sentiments. Where I lose you a little bit is you and me both know Mark Andrews is the top target when it comes to the red zone. Right? He can go up and moss you. He can go and win that 50-50 ball. Is he built like a true X? No, he's a tight end. But he acts as that, and he's performed as that. And we know what King Henry, it's crazy. If Derek wasn't here, we wouldn't even be having a discussion maybe about the MVP because Josh wouldn't have so much more rushing touchdowns than Lamar does. Right. Well, we all know why Lamar's rushing touchdowns number is down because of 22. So we'll see in January if your thought, because I've thought that in the past, but not about this offense. I know that they're thin at wide receiver. I'm not yet a believer because of the King, because of their investment in the wide receivers, or at least the development of Rashad and the growing, budding nature that Zay is playing with in his sophomore season. I'm not yet convinced that the way they're currently built isn't capable of doing it in January.
Yeah. I still draw a little bit of doubt because we've been the number 1 rushing team in the league for years now, right? And Derrick Henry is proving that even more. We're even more better at being the number 1 rushing team in the league.
But they haven't been a top 5 passing attack
in the playoffs. All the playoff contention teams, if you go down the list, we can name 1 or 2 wide receivers on that team that is a true go up and get it individual. Yes, Mark Andrews is that guy in the between the seams. But if why, like I said last time we were on, Bobby, why do we have the approach that it has to be either or? Why can't it be Likely and Mark Andrews? Why can't it be Zay and Tez Walker? Why can't it be Lamar and Derrick Henry running? Why does the Ravens always take the approach of either or? Every other team gets weapons and utilizes they figure out a way for San Francisco to get Debo involved, McCaffrey involved, Ayuk involved. Like they figure out a way to get all these guys involved. Why aren't the Ravens figuring that out? And that is my question. Like, what is holding us back from utilizing all these weapons at the same time?
I'm losing you a little bit here. I think you're being a little hard on Monken, man. They got a number. Okay. So, and then we'll get back to the guest lines here in a second because I gotta get everybody involved here.
No,
this is a good conversation though.
Yeah.
Zay is closing in on 1,000 yards. We all know that. Mm-hmm. Hopefully he'll get it. He's got 44 to go.
Right.
That'll be obviously a significant milestone, probably bound for his first Super Bowl, and it'll be the first ever as a drafted Ravens wide receiver. Bateman is having a resurgent year, a breakout year. He's got 7 total touchdowns, 654 yards receiving. He had 4 total his previous 3 years, as we've discussed. Mark Andrews on a down year, year has 514 yards receiving and 8 touchdowns. Zay, by the way, has 4 touchdowns. So right now, they already have, I've mentioned 2 wide receivers and 1 tight end, each of which has at least 500 yards receiving and at least 4 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Now, outside of that, there's a drop-off, right? Likely has 401 yards receiving for 4 touchdowns. Justice is crazy enough. Your 5th ranked receiving yards leader because of how many screen passes he's been getting drawn up from Monken. He's got 383 and 3 touchdowns and so on and so forth. Bunch of guys with, 100 here, 200 there. Tylen's got 191. Kohler's in there. Aguilar's got 231. And then we haven't even gotten to the running back position yet. So I think you're being a little hard on the amount of variety that Monken has employed this year.
Yeah, but okay, so yeah, you're right. We got to wait till January to see if it actually takes us to that promised land. Because last year, arguably, even teams we played against said we were the best team in the league, and our offense was one of the most prolific even last year. But what's the one common denominator that we don't have? Even when Marquise Brown got his 1,000 yards, we still didn't have that true number one X wide receiver that every team, if we go down the playoff teams, every team that we'll have to face, whether it's NFC or AFC, every team that we have to face, man, they got that dude. Every single team has that dude. And even though our dudes have numbers, they're not that one. You feel me? They're not. I mean, just look at some time of the production of Zay Flowers. We've had Zay Flowers have 100 yards in the first half, and defenses change up the scheme, and Zay Flowers gone. And the lead gets smaller and smaller, right? We're winning by 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers disappears. Now the lead is getting smaller and smaller because he's just not that guy. And that's not taking nothing away from Zay and what he's doing. But when we look at in contrast, a terrible Las Vegas team, just say, forget everything, throw the ball to Devontae Adams. They can't stop him. Throw it to him. No matter what, throw it to him. And they beat us. They beat us. So until we get that guy, I'm not convinced, man. I have a hard time getting all the way on board, man. I have a hard time getting all the way on board. Maybe Devontae Walker is that guy, but will the Ravens be brave enough to allow him to not go by seniority? Will they be brave enough to say, you know what? This guy has a very high ceiling. We're going to let him play as high as his ceiling will go. If we notice a drop off, if we notice him not completing passes or whatever, then we knock him down a peg. But his physical gifts alone should warrant him enough time in the starting lineup with the wide receivers.
Just going to throw it out there. DK Metcalf was in Marquise Brown's draft class and was drafted after him.
and think about we're not even going to talk about the outside linebacker that Ajabo. We're not even going to talk about Ajabo. How many wide receivers were available and how many wide receivers are in the league doing numbers when they picked Ajabo, who was gimpy and hurt?
Hey, let's stick a pin in it. You and I will definitely revisit it in January.
All right,
should we have to revisit it? And
yes.
We will see. But I'm going to stick my neck out there and finish it with this.
Okay.
I do not believe we're going to see a hefty dose of Tez Walker tomorrow.
Okay.
That's what I believe.
So you will put Tylen Wallace over him?
Yes.
Okay. I believe it too because the Ravens go by seniority rule.
Yes.
So I'm not surprised at that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But okay, so seniority is one thing, but I also think that Tylen should be ahead of Tez in tomorrow's targets.
I don't think so.
That's a conversation for another time, brother.
Yeah. All right, my man.
I'll catch you, Dre.
Thanks,
it easy,
bro.
Appreciate the call. Appreciate you guys for being here as well. Great audience on this Friday evening. Been going for over 50 minutes, and we're going to keep it going. Some super chats have come in. Ryan White, by the way, the live chat has a direct link. If you want to call in and share a thought with me tonight, we just went in a complete tangent. I thought it was a great conversation. I appreciate Dre for the call. We're talking Deontay Johnson. We're talking Anthony Miller. We're talking where the Ravens stand right now at wide receiver with a big-time rematch with the Steelers coming up tomorrow. Ryan White says, isn't Michael Thomas a free agent? Thoughts? My thoughts are what his thoughts were. You want to know what those were? Absolutely airing every piece of dirty laundry that he could ever have done on Twitter about Derek Carr, his former teammate. It was classless. It was ridiculous. It was unhinged. And there's a reason why he remains unsigned. And he's been banged up in recent years. So it's going to be a hard no for me, dog, on that one. But I do remember, and I obviously will always defer to these guys, one of which is no longer with us, rest his soul. Do you all remember draft weekend when we were going through the free agent wide receivers that were available, and we had Marlon Humphrey on one side of the screen and the late Jacoby Jones on the other side? And both of their eyes, both of their faces, they perked up when Michael's name was read across the screen. I think that's probably more about what he was at one point in his career, which was a dynamic X, a ridiculous freak of nature talent. Unfortunately, it's a what have you done for me lately league. I think that'd be really risky. Winstone's Chronicles writes, good riddance, Deontay. Every man must decide whether he will walk in the light of creative altruism or in the darkness of destructive selfishness. Directly from MLK, Martin Luther King. And Emo says, put Tez in. High reward, low risk. His speed can open the field for the elite tight ends, or the elite tight end in Mark Andrews. We'll see if Tez gets an opportunity coming off his first catch, his first touchdown, which of course came in garbage time. And I don't mean any negative connotations about that. It was a blowout. It's the reality. It was garbage time against a Giants team that I think its defense gets too much of a bad rap. It's the offense in New York that's completely disastrous and cannot move the football and does not have a quarterback, obviously. Trez, what's up, brother? How you doing, dude? Can't believe I let you back on here.
Bobby. Nothing much, man. I'm glad we're able to bury the hatchet, although I don't know why you're wearing Steelers yellow or gold and whatever. I don't not seeing it, Bobby. But to get to the conversation,
ring light. It's the ring light. Look at what the ring light does to my hand. See, this is the perfect example. That is not the way my hand looks. It's like a saucer. It's like a friggin'
Look, let the chat decide, but I think you wearing gold and black or whatever. But it's whatever. It's whatever.
What you got for
me? To get to the conversation, I definitely agree with what Dre Dog was saying, where I feel like there is not a systematic flaw in how we try to develop our wide receivers and get them ready to play. But I do believe in this game coming up against the Steelers, I know it's a high intensity game. I know there's a lot at stake, but I also think this is the perfect environment to see what you have in Tez Walker. Now, of course, still have Tylan Walker.
What? The perfect environment?
I mean, they say iron sharpens iron. They say you need to beat the best to be the best. I mean, going up against the Steelers defense, yeah, it's a tall task, but at the same time, you got drafted into the league. Now, of course, still got to have Tylan Wallace out there. I think, obviously, anytime he's caught the ball, only good things has happened. But, I mean, I feel like it would be a true shame. I feel like you would be missing key development in Tez Walker if he was not playing this period in the game. I'm sure he will be playing. How meaningful those snaps will be, and depending on the routes and what he is in the progression, that'll say a lot too. But I feel like this is going to be some key development that he will need, especially if they want Tez to succeed in the future.
I will gladly get on the post-game show and eat my words if it's a Tez breakout game, but I don't envision that for Ravens Steelers.
I didn't say breakout game though.
Okay. Yeah. Look,
I think he would have some key moments. I think he can have some key moments, maybe, converting on a first down a couple times, keeping the chains moving and whatnot. I mean, maybe he can get a touchdown. I feel like that is definitely on the higher end of like, I hope he gets a touchdown, but I think he will have some key moments that show if he's able to play some meaningful snaps.
I see him getting special team snaps. I see Tylan Wallace getting a hefty load. And you know what? Tylan has earned it. Has earned it. And to your point a minute ago, aside from his punt return duties, which have not been, it's been very problematic. Hey, by the way, look who's here. Look who's here.
Is it final?
Look who we got. Hey, Dave, why don't you call in and tell me the scouting report that you got on Devontae? Call in. Come on, Dave. You're the most generous super chat donor ever, but I want you to put your generosity on full display. Come on right now. Give me some airtime, and you tell me why Devontae is going to be a big-time balling out performance tomorrow against the Steelers. Come on, Dave. And final resolution. Excuse me, Chef. Sorry to interrupt your time. Final resolution. I ain't done with you either. Right? You take the freaking access link that's in the live chat right now and you get your ass on here. I've been waiting for you for 72 hours now. And you've been a no-show. Kind of like Deontay.
crazy.
Go ahead, Chef.
The second thing that I want to get into is the OBJ thing. And again, I feel like this also helps with what Dre Dog is saying as well. I think for something for the Ravens to do differently is bringing in OBJ again. We saw the impact that it had not only in the locker room, but we saw the impact that it had for Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, some of the other wide receivers in there. Like OBJ, because he has matured so much due to the bad situations he's been in, the injuries and whatnot, winning a Super Bowl, but not really being able to find the team. But there's so much to really learn from OBJ being back in that locker room that I think Tez Walker and Dayton Wade can really learn from and be future guys for this team. But Bobby, I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm
go.
sorry.
I know you and Dave got to duke it out or something. So
I'm screwing
I'm
up
gonna
your
go ahead and
time
bounce.
so badly. I'm totally hijacking your time. I'm sorry, big dog.
Hey, it's all good, Bobby. It's all good.
Oh shit! All right, Trez. Appreciate you, brother. Have a great weekend.
Hey, 31-10 Ravens win.
Okay. Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Now wait a second. What did you do the first time around? What was your
I said
prediction?
31-10. I said
The first time
31-10.
around?
Earlier
No,
this
week
spring.
11. Week 11.
Oh damn! What did I say? Hey, that's different. That's past
Remember,
me, Bobby.
remember,
That's
I
past
got
me.
burnt. I got burnt by. I think I did a 10-point difference in favor of the Ravens.
Well, week 11, I said it was gonna be what was it, like 21-17 Steelers win or something. But this time around, I mean, I feel like this. You have Todd Monken out there at practice running around being like, "Yeah, you ain't holding the ball hard enough. Put the ball in your You're like Bobby. This time around is going to be different, and it's playing at the bank with Lamar Jackson. At 31-10. 31-10. Derrick Henry's going to put PQ in the earth. He's going to put him in the earth. Patrick Queen going to be in the earth. Pat Ricard's probably going to jump from the top ropes and hit him with the Hulkamania leg drop.
Does it not get more electric than this guy? I mean, come on. Dead
It doesn't get
sprint.
better than
It's
that.
cold as hell in Maryland.
Go ahead. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. Give him the ball.
Zay's looking
In
at him
stride.
like, well, look at Zay. Zay's like, oh,
In
shit,
stride.
he's coming all the way down here.
Yeah.
Look at this crew. You got Greg Lewis in there. You got, wait, is Greg Lewis still with the organization?
I
thought that.
Not too sure.
It sure looks like. Yeah, Greg Lewis is in there. You got Tylen in there, Zay, and then of course, hey, the good news is, you know who's going to be ready to go for when his number's called? The guy he's working on right there, Anthony Miller, who was just called up. So there you have it.
But last thing, it's real crazy. You have to get a coach, assistant coach, offense coordinator, defense coordinator, real hot and bothered to go running from halfway across the field over to come tell your group something, be like, hey, y'all better take care of that damn ball.
Oh, you already know.
Eight turnovers and 7 fumbles. Take care of that damn ball.
You already know.
Yeah.
And hey, potentially the dude who could have a big time opportunity in front of him tomorrow. Here's Tylen.
AFC North football, it's going to be a physical matchup. Like I said, probably one of the best rivalries in NFL football. So we know it's going to be a physical, tough game, and we're ready for it.
We just know what's at stake. It's this time of year. We got to win games, and we put ourselves in a great position. And so everything looking ahead is just being motivated and locked in and ready to take on this week and take it one at a time.
AJ Gersh TV, courtesy of Fox 45. Brother Trez, great to see you, brother. Talk to you soon.
As always.
Later, man. Enjoy the game. Let's see. What else do we have to do? The guest lines are open. I see C-Max, Ali, Manny down there. Appreciate you guys for being here. Over 1,200 of you concurrently watching. We got a great audience here. God, I got to piss like a racehorse. I've been putting fluids down for whatever reason, but I'm going to keep this show going because everybody wants in on some smoke right now, including Mr. David Cure, but he's going to have to wait because he doesn't even have to pull up the link. What's up, Manny?
Hey, what's up, Bobby?
Good to see you, man.
Everybody wants Tez. None of my dark horse. Come on. You're not giving my guy a chance? I would put my guy a chance.
You're getting what you've been wishing for months now. Months.
Yep, opportunities, and well, a certain Jack wasted that opportunity. But hey, at least we can get a veteran star to occupy his spot. So
well, with Miller, you referring to
no,
Miller?
No. I'm talking
OBJ.
I said veteran
yeah, okay.
star. Veteran
OBJ, yeah.
star, not veteran wide receiver. Come on, Bobby.
Yeah. No, OBJ obviously available right now. Anthony Miller is the veteran that they called up from the practice squad. We'll see what they choose to do. But hey, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for your boy. I think Tylen, everything, more often than not, when he's a pass catcher, good things happen when the ball hits his hands. And obviously, from this point forward, he probably lost his punt return specialist opportunities, maybe to Desmond King. I don't know if that's going to be permanent or not, but it's a big opportunity for Tylen. You better believe he's going to get some sleep tonight.
Yeah, and he has big games every time he wears the purple uniform. So it's purple uniform. It's in the bank. Just throw Tylen just to the left side, and he's gonna cut and go all the way. I mean, that's his specialty.
It's purple on purple. That's right. So.
Yeah, and it's his specialty. I mean, the big plays that has come is him wearing purple and that left side. So there's no question that they're going to try and do that for him to get loose and score one. I wouldn't doubt that. But one thing that I think we saw with Todd Monk in that video, where's John Harbaugh? Where's John Harbaugh going on the defense? Zach Orr, telling them boys, hey.
What's up, Ali?
Hey, what's going on, man?
I think we may have lost Manny there for a second. What's up, Ali? How you doing, man?
Hey, not much, man. I just seen you when you were talking earlier, and I agree with you about two things: Deontay Johnson, and I know no one wants to speak on this character, but I do think when you look at past teams letting a person go, you got to call it what it is. I think everybody's trying to get the benefit of the doubt, saying you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I guess because I'm prior military, but if someone quits on you, it doesn't matter the circumstance. You don't. It doesn't matter. You don't quit on your team. You don't quit on your brothers at any point, and you don't refuse to go in. So I'm not gonna, take up for Deontay Johnson with that. He had a golden opportunity. You're talking about a millionaire, and people are making, pretty much excuses for him. And then in terms of receiver core, the Tez Walker, 100% agree with you. You don't start the youth in rival games. That's terrible football. This is not an experimental game. This is not something you want to give him a chance. Tez Walker is not ready. Because it goes both ways. If we're talking about Deontay Johnson behind the scenes, you got to understand that they see Tez Walker behind the scenes, and clearly they know that he's probably not ready for that. Anthony Miller is one of the best options to put out there, veteran. The only thing that stopped him in his career is injuries. If you look at him, he had productive years, but injuries stopped him. It's not because production. You never heard him saying that he's not good. He was a second-round pick for a reason. I think Memphis leading receiver for a reason in history. He's a good player, just stayed injured. I think he's going to shock people, and I think he's going to do pretty well. But that's all I want to say to you.
I appreciate the call, man. And sorry if I cut off Manny. I thought I had maybe it was on my end with the Wi-Fi disconnect there. But remember, this was a dude that actually lit it up in training camp to the point where there was a lot of conversations about 4 months ago that he might sneak his way out of the 53-man roster. So
agreed.
So that was not all that long ago. Let's not have too short of memories for looking back at Anthony's productive summer that he had. There was instant connection between he and Lamar. I'm not saying he's going to get a bunch of opportunities target-wise tomorrow, but he's brought in for insurance purposes. I expect that Zay and Tylen and the tight ends are going to get the majority of these snaps. And I don't mean Tylen to be in the category of Zay, Mark, and Isaiah. I think it's going to be those three, of course, and then Tylen's going to be like a secondary option for them. And maybe Tez gets a target here and there. If he's even in the look, it would not even surprise me if Devontae is just special teams tomorrow. It wouldn't. It just would not surprise me. He may be on the field for some offensive snaps, but this is a rivalry game in which they know everything about Devontae. And
agree.
And these guys understand Tez, right? He came on after the first half of UNC. He sat because of an eligibility issue and then lit it up for North Carolina in the second half stretch. He fell to the fourth round. He's quick as heck. He's a vertical presence. But if you listen to Steve Smith Sr., he's got developing to do at the top of his route, right? Mid route. And so there's more to do there. And so I think we can enjoy what he did last week, but also temper expectations in terms of what he can do in the here and now.
You know, I want to say this too. I think people forget that Lamar Jackson is an extraordinary quarterback. You need a veteran that understands to find the soft spot in the zone. We always talk about receivers not knowing where to stop at. He's running around. You need somebody with experience that's used to that. Tez Walker's he doesn't have the same level of chemistry either with Lamar in that regard. But Anthony Miller has been around. He was with the Kansas City Chiefs, so I know he's seen several quarterbacks running around, especially Patrick Mahomes. He's used to it. He can find the soft spot. You need a veteran to understand zones. And, I love Tez Walker. I think the guy's going to be extraordinary. But Steve Smith, he said what he said for a reason. We're talking about a Hall of Fame. Well, I think he's in Hall of Fame or future Hall of Fame receiver. Tez Walker's not ready for that big stage, but he can be put in certain type of packages where he can shine, but he is not the third down receiver. Not at all.
Yeah,
well,
Steve is eligible, and he'll end up in Canton.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. So great stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks for the call, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Yep.
Catch up with you soon. Lauren hits me with a super chat and writes, been listening more to you solo lately in addition to the vault, and I'm loving potty mouth Bobby without Sarah. When you let me out of the cage, Lauren, look out. It's fun to play that role with Sarah, of course, and respect our partnership. And then it's even more fun to mix it up in here. And as always, it's all fun and games, right? A lot of these people that go after me, they call in like Dave's about to right now, and it's going to be a fun conversation. It's going to be a good-spirited conversation. It might get a little heated, might get a little spirited, but I love that. And the alternative is just boring. Let's be honest. Now, as I just mentioned, I love, and it doesn't happen very often whatsoever. I think, matter of fact, it's only happened once before. It's about to happen twice. And that is when people come after me in the chat and they don't have the stones to call in when I call them out. Sly Brand did it probably about a year ago, which was a hilarious call. Final Resolution, he declined. He walked into the shadows. He couldn't handle the heat. Mr. David Cure is currently sitting in the waiting room right now. He often sends us super chats, which I'm very appreciative of. He's been ripping me in the chat throughout this evening tonight, and now he and I are about to go head-to-head about Devontae Walker. Let's do it. Dave, welcome into the program. It's great to see you. How you feeling tonight?
What you got, brother?
I'm going to be asking you the same in a second.
I got it all.
Give it to me. Okay, you tell me. Let me tell you this. Your comment was written with pure confidence that I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to Devontae Walker. So I want to ask you this. What makes you confident that he's the best option to be behind Zay Flowers tomorrow against Pittsburgh?
Well, I can tell you he's a rookie, right? So everyone's doubting, that, well, because Harbaugh's holding back, like Harbaugh's held back Ben Cleveland while we watch Falele give up blocks all year. Look, I hate. I'm big hatred on Harbaugh. I think he's a cheerleader. He's a horrible head coach, and most of the world doesn't agree with that. But there's a lot of people who in Baltimore we totally believe that he's a piece of shit. I watched Tez Walker. I live in Chapel Hill, so I've been watching him for a couple of years. He's a real deal. He's a badass. We saw that catch last week. You see that kid get his toes in on his very first catch? How many balls have thrown his way? I'm telling you, the kid is – they give him the opportunity. I don't know that they'll throw to him enough, but he'll get downfield, and they got to cover him. And if they don't cover him, he'll snag the ball. So that's what I got. I watched him for a couple of years down here in Chapel Hill.
That's fantastic. And hey, he had a hell of a second half of the year. But there's a reason why he fell to the fourth round, and there's a reason, on top of injuries this year, why he had been inactive 8 total games coming into Week 15. And there's a reason.
Well, what are those reasons? I mean, do you trust anything that Harbaugh says? He rattles off a bunch of crap. You never know what's the truth with him to begin with. What's his reasons that he's not been out there that we know?
Devontae's?
Yeah.
because it's the best wide receiver room. It's not saying much, but it's the best wide receiver room that Lamar's had throughout his 7 years in the league. Okay. And 2, I was told from somebody that spent a decent amount of time around the building over the summer that he was not ready. He's going to be a late bloomer.
What does that even mean? And how did he get out there? How did he get out there last week?
Not David. Come on, you know the answer to that. The game was out of reach. It was a great opportunity to get him involved.
You think he was out there because the game was out of reach and they had
without question.
Who did they not put on the field? Who did they not put on the field for him?
In the second half?
Yeah, who did they not put on the field?
They took off when was it? It was in the third. They probably took off. I got to go back to play to see who was in and out, but I'm sure they probably took off Bateman. Bottom line is,
so they have Bateman, they have Zay, they have tight ends. I mean, the team is full with receivers. So the fact that Tez couldn't get on the field doesn't really surprise me. The fact that he hasn't gotten a chance isn't because he isn't good. I mean, you're saying these things as if, oh, he's held back for a reason. Well, the reason is that there's a lot of damn receivers to get on the field, and we got a freaking run game. So, like, what do you do?
Not all fourth-round wide receivers, Dave, immediately walk in and command a certain target share, especially on a team.
I don't disagree with that.
Right? Okay.
But the fact that he's a viable option is not to be discounted. He's a viable option. The fact you haven't seen him on the field isn't because he isn't any good, isn't because he hasn't played well in practice or whatever the assumptions are. But the reality is that kid can freaking ball. I mean, anyone look at films for North Carolina. I mean, the kid can freaking ball. And we saw what he did last week with that toe touch. That dude, he snagged that freaking ball. That's what he can do. He did that in his career at Chapel Hill. He's really good. That's why he got drafted.
Beautiful play on Sunday. Hell of a second half stretch for UNC. That's ACC football. This is the NFL. I'm not saying that he's not going to develop. I hope he develops.
Every college player is playing other college teams. Where else are they supposed to go?
Look,
of course, it's just ACC football.
Look, he's had Torrey Smith comparisons. Okay. He could very well develop into a great number 2 and spend the next 10 years in Baltimore. But right now they have too many mouths to feed. And for you to sit up here.
That's what I said.
But okay. But for you to sit up here and say that you're perplexed as to why he's not getting involved, to me, is asinine.
I never said I'm perplexed that he hasn't gotten involved.
You're upset that John Harbaugh has not gotten Devontae more involved, are you not?
No, I'm not upset. The fact that there's a shitload of receivers. The fact that you've been questioning, there's a reason that he's not on the field. I'm like, well, yeah, because there's a lot of damn receivers, not because he sucks. What I'm saying is that you saw him get on the field, you saw what he can do. So to anticipate that all of a sudden he shouldn't be on the field because he hasn't been previously is sort of, that's flailing BS. It doesn't even make sense. He's not been on the field because there's a shitload of receivers.
Okay. So tell me what you're upset about.
I ain't upset at all. I'm upset that you're wearing that damn shirt behind a Maryland flag with a Maryland flag behind you, but you can't put a fucking Ravens jersey on. What the hell's wrong with you, brother?
You're telling me.
Be a fan.
You're telling me.
We'll let you on the bandwagon. Come on the bandwagon. Put a damn Ravens jersey or put a little shirt with a Ravens emblem on it. You can do it, buddy. Listen, it's Ravens fans who support you. And you got a Maryland flag behind you, for God's sake.
You and I need to clear up a couple things before we jump, because there's a lot more people that are getting into the live chat.
You weren't expecting this, were you? I got it.
I'm so glad that you called in.
Get in. I couldn't find a fucking link.
I am so glad you called in.
I'm not that smart.
I need you to know this. That as Sarah and I have teased many times before, I have been in an ongoing copyright legal battle with the NFL for a year, which began last March. So not a year yet, but it will be in March. Part of the reasoning why I can't wear logos, emblems, colors that represent the Ravens is due to that. Okay.
Really?
Now, that's number 1.
I didn't know that, but you got to take that damn shirt off right now.
I'm telling you right now.
Everyone already told you it looks like shit gold.
Listen, the ring light that is in front of my camera is making it seem as if it's yellow. If you were right next to me, okay, co-hosting like you want to do, apparently, you would know that. All right.
Well, funny that it doesn't show up purple, and you couldn't blame that on the ring light.
Listen, I'm going to give you a round of applause. I'm glad. I thank you for calling in. Thank you for all the support that you give us through the chat.
Look, you know what? The support could rain down. I'm a very fortunate person. I retired early, self-retired. I'm a very lucky person. Grew up in the hood, just a few blocks from the stadium. I grew up in Pigtown.
Oh yeah.
There's some things you don't know. 1158 Nonicoke Street. Look at that address. That's where I grew up, dude. Where
fantastic.
the street cameras are, around the lamppost. I'm a very, very fortunate person. So the support could rain down. You know how it started. I don't play around. I see something I like, I support it. I'm very lucky person.
I appreciate you, David. I appreciate you, man. Have a great holiday. Thanks for the call. Later, man. David Cure, ladies and gentlemen, UNC's finest and Baltimore's finest, as we just learned. That was fantastic. And what's maybe even more fantastic or just as fantastic is what I think David just inspired. And what I mean by that is who David just inspired. You're not going to believe who just popped into live chat, guys, into the waiting room. Final_resolution is posted up in the waiting room right now, but his camera's not on, and I have a couple more guests that I got to get to who've been waiting. So Final, if you are working on your camera, I'm going to give you all the time in the world, my guy. All right, C-Max, what's good, brother? Welcome in, dude.
Bobby, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Good to see you, man. The Floridian is in the house. Look at you looking all festive as well. Looking
gotta
very
represent
festive.
for the Florida Ravens. Gotta represent. I was just thinking about it with Deontay. He's probably gonna go through waivers. And you know what team that's a contender that needs a receiver? The Pittsburgh Steelers. I could see him going back to Pittsburgh, and especially to spite us, because they definitely need help, and they always been looking for receivers. And now that Pickens is hurt, they could definitely use somebody, and he's familiar with the system. It all makes all the sense in the world. I understand why he was pouty, and like I get it. It's like, oh, you think Nelson Aguilar and Tylen Wallace should be in front of you, but you can't quit on your comrades or your teammates. So like, even if you're pouty about it, like your opportunity was there. Coach Harbaugh said, "Yo, get in the game," and then you say you don't want to play. So good riddance. I don't care about the comp pick or whatever. So let's move on with that. As
That
far
ain't
as
happening. That's definitely not happening either.
yeah, we're definitely not getting that comp pick. So it is what it is. As far as the preview for the game, their offense is really bad without Pickens, and our defense has been playing good the past couple weeks. So hopefully they can continue that trajectory, and hopefully Lamar just actually finally plays a good game. This is going to be good to play in front of actually a crowd in Baltimore, which is weird that he's never played in front of a crowd, only the COVID year with all the injuries and whatnot. So I'm excited to see what Lamar does on Saturday, and hopefully we can stop this kryptonite that I say in air quotes, kryptonite for Lamar.
Yeah, and what you referenced was just to be clear, you meant a good game for Lamar against the Steelers.
Yes,
Obviously,
yeah. A good game against, yeah. Obviously, he's having an MVP like level season. So
Yep. Hey, man, have a great holiday down there, and
you too, brother.
We'll have to link up in March. All right.
Yo, for sure, yeah, for sure. When you come down to Orlando, for sure. Happy
All right,
holidays,
man.
Merry Christmas.
Yep. Later, dude. Thanks for the call. And how about this, man? I called him generous, and he referred to himself as one of the lucky ones and somebody that's blessed. And my, oh my, David Cure, after answering the bell, drops in a super chat donation for 50, a 50 spot from David. Dave, appreciate it, man. You did not dodge the smoke. You rose to the occasion. That was an awesome call. One of my all-time favorite calls, to be honest with you. And appreciate you for doing so. Appreciate all the support. And this is the good stuff, right? This is exactly what I love. What I don't love is when final resolution comes into the waiting room and then leaves. That's not going to fly. That's not going to fly. Wale and Quan, I see you guys in the waiting room. I'm going to get you in just a second. But I got to do one more thing because I don't stand for this. First of all, Dave, thank you once more for the super chat. From one super chat to another comment, and I can't wait to have a little bit of fun here with Keith before we go to Quan. Mr. Keith, Mr. Whitehead says, please stop calling yourself Bobby Baltimore. You were not even a fan. Keith, I don't know where you've been. I addressed this months ago with the Lunch Break Hot Take crew. I'm originally from upstate New York. Started with Ravens radio. Got my career started in the broadcasting industry. Was shown the door in 2022. Left for the summer. Went back to upstate New York. Kept my place in Fells Point. Did some soul searching, launched an LLC, launched Bobby Baltimore, launched The Vault, and 2.5 years later, we're coming up on a combined, I should say, subscription count of 50,000. We have sponsorships from healthcare to sleep mask partners to local mortgage companies to a local car dealership, and I'm having the most fun that I've ever had. My brand name is Bobby Baltimore because I currently reside in Baltimore. I'm not sure if you make the rules when it comes to LLCs and Baltimore sports content. The last time I checked, you can refer to yourself as anything. I'm going to do exactly that. And if you're upset about it, call in and tell me why you think that I should dethrone the name. I look forward to that call. Back to the guest lines. Quan, what's going on, dude? Welcome in. Appreciate the call, man.
What's up with you, bro? How you doing?
I'm great. You can already tell I'm getting after it today.
All right. Hey, yo, I'm a Tez fan.
Okay. All right. Hey, that's great. That's
I'm
awesome.
on Tez side, and I think this opportunity coming up. Oh man, I think this big, bro. I think him in Pittsburgh making a play. I think it would shut you up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, wait a second now. You see, okay, finish that thought, and then I'm gonna say something.
I'm gonna say I think it's gonna shock a lot of people, bro. Like, just imagine, bro, Lamar deep ball specifically. They either been like an inch too far, or the receiver probably been like a little bit too slow. I think Tez Walker, probably he looked like he's 6'3", definitely taller than 6'1", because Bateman's 6'1". He looked like he got a little bit more inches.
He definitely is. He's 6'3", 6'2", 6'3". Yeah.
So I think on certain shots down the field, bro, I think he, wherever they couldn't fill in that, that void, I think he does, especially on the deep shots. And, I think he might be hard to miss. Just like how Lamar can't miss, Likely or Andrews. I think just a taller receiver with that kind of speed, something that we need. Aguilar is probably 30-something already. I don't think he has that top-end speed that he used to have.
This is Nelly's last year in Baltimore. I would think.
Yeah, so I don't think he had that same kind of speed that Tez Walker. Somebody to take the top off the defense.
Oh, remember when Tez matched up with freaking Wiggins, UNC Clemson, that was a battle of like 4-2 threes, 4-2, 4-2. What was Wiggins? So Worthy was 4-2-1.
I think he was a 4-2-8 Wiggins.
4-2-8 was Wiggins, and Tez was just behind them. So these are specimens. And just to be clear, and I know you like a little motivation here, I'm fine with that. I'm not rooting against Tez. I'm telling you what I've been told, and also reading the room a little bit when it comes to his role with this team, which has primarily been special teams. He got a great opportunity against the Giants when the game was out of reach. Yeah. Will he get a couple targets after earning that, maybe? In the Giants game against the Steelers? Maybe. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see him exclusively featured on special teams. It's an important game. He's a rookie. He doesn't have a lot of tape out there. And obviously, they know more than us in the building there. So that's where I'm at there.
Okay. You don't think John Harbaugh has like a seniority-based system? Like just off the O-line aspect. Like, you remember in the early this season how the O-line was. You had McCary at right tackle.
Oh, there's no question.
You remember what John Harbaugh said
regarding?
Oh, if he was the best player, you would be playing.
Listen,
this is with Rosengarten on the bench.
There's no question that's part of his old school edginess has come back to bite him over the years. At times when it comes to personnel decisions.
Okay.
But how long did it take him to get to Rosengarten? Not long, and that's paid dividends.
Injury to Voorhees.
Injury to Voorhees. Well, Voorhees was at the time. Voorhees was at left guard.
Right, and is Voorhees better than McCary?
Probably. Yeah, probably. But they don't.
I think he just like McCary. I think McCary. I don't know what it is. I think he just like his guys sometimes.
McCary's bailed them out more than anybody on that line over the last 3-4 years. But the penalties have been a problem for him.
Yeah.
The holdings have been a problem for him.
Yeah.
But obviously, we all know the elephant in the room is Big 77, and that to me feels like it's the easiest change that could happen between now and the postseason. It's given Voorhees, an opportunity to sub in there, or Ben Cleveland, of course, if you want to go the seniority route, right?
Yeah, but he didn't had Ben Cleveland at center. I thought that was a little disrespectful doing a blowout at the Giants game. He gonna leave Falele in, but then bring Ben in at center instead of Ben is a natural right guard. That's his position.
Ben is going to be elsewhere after this year, unfortunately.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
But I appreciate it. We a little green screen for me right now. What do you got going on?
Yeah, look a little tacky right now. I had my Ravens logo up, but it's not showing right now. So it looks kind of crazy right now.
Oh, you're good. I'm just trying to figure out what you got going on over there.
Yeah. I got a little equipment. A little equipment.
That's good stuff, man. Well, appreciate the call. Have an awesome Christmas. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
All right, you as well, bro.
All right, cool. Let's get to Wale. Make sure I pronounce that right. What's going on, man? Good to see you.
What's going on, Bobby?
I'm doing
First
well.
time calling in, man, from St. Croix, USVA.
You already know. Okay, you already know I love a good first-time caller. What you got going on tonight?
Yeah, man. I was calling in to big you up, but I've been sitting in the waiting room. I got to address some things, man.
Okay. Yeah.
The man going to call.
Thank you for waiting,
David. What's his name? David, right? How you going to call Harbaugh a piece of shit, man? The man a family man, go to church a whole night. How you going to call him a piece of shit, Like, come on, man. You might not like his coaching.
Yeah, and let me just expand on that too, because David's tough on him, real tough. And I'm just going to say this. Obviously, Steve Bisciotti is loyal to no end for his guys. The Ravens organization has embodied that. They've had 3 head coaches in 27 plus years of existence.
Right.
And there could be a legitimate case. There could be a legitimate scenario that should the Ravens get ousted early this year, John's not on the hot seat. Like, that could be a legitimate scenario, and he may not be in Steve's mind. I know he is in some of the fan base's mind, but in Steve Bisciotti's mind, he may not be on the hot seat. And so with that in mind, this is a guy who has long been referred to as the CEO, right? A good CEO, but not a good head coach. And I think there's some pushback there, but there's also some fairness there. Clearly, when it comes to game mismanagement, that has been an Achilles heel of his. When it comes to retaining some of his guys, being too loyal to the Greg Romans of the world, that is a legitimate case that can be made, right? But the way that he cultivates a locker room, the way that he team builds, aside from the wide receiver position, the way that he's built Lamar and rallied around Lamar as a group, the way that he translates and builds team. Think about the amount of coordinators underneath him, the amount of assistants that have went on to other head coaching.
Keep going.
Look at last year. I'll keep going, but I want to give you your time. So look, you can say that John Harbaugh is on the hot seat, and you can tell me certain areas like I just ripped off when it comes to management and the loyalty side of things with his guys, right? And that can be legitimate areas of critique. But what you can't do is call him a piece of shit. You can't call him unsuccessful, because he's been anything but during his time in Baltimore, aside from a season or two. So I'll give you your time back.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like the man really cultivated a locker room that wins consistently. We win. Yeah, you think about how many teams coaching going, they got a coach for then they got a new coach but is huge, Then on to the boy Tez Walker. Well, everybody keeps saying, yeah, he can get downfield. But as a former defensive back, I played in North Carolina A&T. That's all he can do is get downfield. That's why he's not seeing the field. And that's what he scored on. A deep down the field pass. He's a one-trick pony right now. So that's why a lot of receivers who come into the league, the first year, they only got a couple of routes they can really run. They get down the bench until they build the route tree up. And usually it takes a year for that to happen. I.e. Torrey.
Hey, Wale, could you go to a different room and then try it again? I'm just going to go to a different caller because your Wi-Fi is popping out. So try a different room and then pop back on. What's up, Joel?
Hey, Bobby.
You look like you're in a college dorm getting after it right now. What is going on in there?
Well, actually, I was on your live stream, and then I actually took a cat nap while I had my phone on while you were still talking, And I was like, what the hell? Did I just do that? And he was
You
online.
missed quite a bit.
Dude, no, because I saw you get online, and I was like, all right, I gotta get online because I knew you was going to go on live stream eventually. I got on your live stream, then I laid down, and I was like, all right, hopefully he doesn't like cut off, like what's going on. I'll just go to sleep. But I was tired, I was working on all that jazz, you know how it goes. Anyway,
Take a look at
so
the screen.
oh wow, goodness gracious. What is Bobby? What happened, man? I heard a bunch of yelling and screaming, somebody calling you out, like this is the whole nine. What happened?
Well, David
I don't.
Kewer and I had a great conversation about Tez Walker. He lives down in the UNC Chapel Hill area, so he got a chance to see him throughout his time there. And then he dropped in a 50 spot, which was pretty hilarious afterwards. And we had a good back and forth. And then after that, I all out torched a certified grade A blowhard by the name of Keith Whitehead, who's upset that I refer to myself as Bobby Baltimore. So I walked him down, let him know how that name came to be, let him know what I've sacrificed to build this company, let him know how committed I am, let him know what we've done since the second I was shown the door by WBAL, what we've accomplished along the way, what we will accomplish. I didn't get into that, but I do have future visions. And so, again, I'd like to welcome and invite Keith Whitehead to come on the show and air his frustrations out about my brand name, because out of all the things that are happening in the world pre-holiday, I'd imagine that more so than anything else trumps his inner frustration. So with that, I'll give you your time, Joel.
Wow. All right, so a lot of people want to be Scrooges this week, huh? Anyway, so you know me, baby. I'm just always the level-headed one. And I'll start trouble when I need to on X. You already know that. But flipping sides, this Deontay Johnson situation. I mean, when it first happened, like we thought it was all right. He just assurance policy, just regular body, but that Eagles game really just tipped the scales of what probably was to come, and obviously inevitably happened today. Um, I just feel like what an absolute waste of a trade. I think people will look at this trade as one of probably EDC's like not so bright moments, but he knew what he was doing in the sense of like, all right, we gotta get this guy in here. Maybe he'll give us a help that we need, playoff push, blah blah blah. And it's like, didn't materialize into nothing. I mean, the guy came in here and we gave, the press conference kind of told the story. I rewatched his press conference when he first got here, and I looked at his body language. I was like, yeah, this guy's not gonna last here. Because I
You
think he
mentioned that
just
the other
settled.
day. You wanted to see his press conference from earlier on. So
Yeah, I managed to look at it on the Ravens app, and I just saw him, and I was like, this guy's not gonna last long. Like he just telling us what we want to hear, so he can get what he want. Like he's not here for the long run, and then lo and behold, this is what he does. And it's a shame that this is what it's come down to with this guy. I mean, he had a great opportunity, like you said, he had an opportunity to change the narrative about himself. The past history with the Steelers, and then he gets to the Panthers, and then he comes here. All right, you're in a contract situation. Okay, that should be the furthest thing from your mind. I mean, we're trying to chase something here, and you're thinking about yourself. Like I don't understand guys like the guy from San Francisco, and then Deontay. I don't
Devondre
get this.
Campbell, yeah, it's just literally the same shit, and
Yeah,
two
it's like
organizations handled it in complete opposite ways. So hey, Joel, I got one more caller to get in. All right, brother. So hey, have an awesome weekend. I'm sure we'll catch up with you post game tomorrow. All right.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be at the game anyway tomorrow. I already told you that. So I'm gonna try to see if I can run to you. If not, then it'll be the Browns game for sure. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll catch you.
Cool. Well, hey, too, while you're at it, make sure you and everybody else get involved in the giveaway for the Browns game, because if you go to the Bobby Baltimore Instagram page, all you got to do follow 2 accounts, including mine and the dealership, and tag a friend, and all of a sudden you get entered into the 2 free tickets for Ravens Browns. So,
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I'll definitely check that out. Thank you,
all right,
Bob.
man.
Appreciate it. All
I'll
right,
talk to
Bob.
you. Yep.
See you.
Take care of yourself.
All right.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I'm doing a giveaway. So it's through Preston, which is my auto dealership sponsor. And all you got to do by going to my Instagram account at Bobby Baltimore is follow Preston Automotive Group and me. Tag a friend in the comments, and that's literally it. The winner is going to be announced on Monday. They'll DM you, and it's simple as that. A lot of people are commenting, so just go on and on and on. See if there's any eligibles in here. Who's this? Kelsey Cooper? Who's this? Just kidding. Am I? Why the hell are you back?
Hey,
What the hell are you
Bobby,
doing
I
back?
just listen. I felt like we were all just airing dirty laundry, taking shots at people. So I just want to take a little shot at Horse Taurus. He was talking a whole lot of stuff about Justin Tucker and how he's gonna make this 50-yard field goal. Tune into his channel. Don't wait. It's been going on for weeks. He's been saying like, hold on, y'all. I'm gonna make this kick. Y'all gotta tune in my channel. But he hasn't made the kick. He hasn't posted it yet. So I mean, I've got the people waiting. Also, he said, we cool like that. So he told me to tell everybody that the Ravens win tomorrow. Drinks on him. So that's all
Taurus
I'm
got smoked
saying.
with everybody, man. I thought it was Manny and him that had the smoke,
Hey,
but it's you too, huh?
Taurus, we waiting on that 50-yard field goal kick that I ain't got much faith. I'm gonna take the bet that he ain't gonna make it, but
There
but
he
it's
is.
all love. It's all
You
love.
already know he's here. You already know he's
Hey,
here.
it's all love though. It's all love. It's all love.
So if you're waiting on that, and by the way, Wale apologized to everybody. He's at a friend's house, no Wi-Fi. Give thanks for having me on. Appreciate you, Wale, for popping in. If you're waiting on Taurus, I'm waiting on Keith. I mean, where's he at?
Hey, who knows, Bobby? Who knows?
Where's he at? I'm going to leave you with one funny story. And it falls under the category of where you at? Meaning, when the lights come on, there's a lot of dudes out there in this chat that quiver. And so yesterday, I'm on my way to get my haircut in Hamden. I don't do a lot of things in Hamden. It doesn't fit my personality. A little eccentric over there. I like it a lot. But I do go over to Two Bits Barbershop. And I'm on my way over, and I'm a little late. And I'm working my way through Upper Fells and then into Highlandtown. I'm just like trying to cut over to get to 83. And what I think is the far left lane apparently wasn't. Right. And I'm trying to take a left at the light. It's a red light. So the Bobby Baltimore Bronco comes up the left-hand lane. I take my left. Nobody says anything. I don't hear anything that I'm doing anything wrong. Right. And all the cars, mind you, were going straight that were in that left lane. So I wasn't cutting anybody off. As I get down the road, all of a sudden I look behind me, and you got this Camry. It's almost like a gray looking Camry. I don't know the actual car, but he's right up on my ass. And this dude looks like white trash, right? And he is right up on my ass. And so all of a sudden, what do you think I do now? Petty Bobby comes out. I'm going about 30 miles an hour. And it's 10 of 9 on a weekday. So everybody, it's the middle of rush hour. Everybody's trying to get everywhere. And this dude starts to have a fit. I can tell he's going off, right? So next thing you know, he swerves off to the right. He's trying to pass me. So then I speed up. Meanwhile, he's probably late to work. I got nowhere to be besides the barbershop.
You Bobby instigator right now.
Oh, you already know it. Now I'm pissed off, though, because he's like getting close. So he comes up to my right and whizzes right by me and now gets right in front of me now, of course. I'm like, a classic. So I start, this is when I do exactly what I do to Keith and everybody else that starts to get after me in the chat. I'm going through my windshield and I'm going like this to him. I'm going like that, right? And he's doing all kinds. He's flipping me off. He's doing all kinds of stuff. Finally, he gets over to the right because he was getting ready to turn right onto 83 and we get a red light. So I pop up right to his left. I roll down the window, and you can just tell he looks like Eminem, kind of like he's just kind of going off, like he feels like he's just ready to bout. And he throws something at the car. I don't know what it was, but it didn't damage it. It was literally like nothing. I roll down the window, and I look him right in the eye, and I said, "You're the problem. why I-83 is a freaking Mario, and a lot of words that I won't use, is a Mario Kart race out here. It's literally like driving Mario Kart on I-83 because of mother effers like you, right? And he starts, he's saying this, that, and the other. You're a white boy. I said, what does that make you? He was white with black hair. What does that make you? It's just, I don't even know why I'm telling the story right now, but yeah.
Bobby, I don't even know what. Yeah, Bobby instigator, man. Them Pilates classes, they embolden you, man. They
I was
embolden
loving
you.
it. I was
You're
absolutely
probably
loving
gonna
it.
dress up as Batman, go running around throughout the city of Baltimore, stopping crime.
He definitely saw the decal in the back of the car too. So like, I mean, call in. Call in.
Hey, but either way, I just want to say my little spiel. A horse, I horse Taurus. The link's right there. I mean, you can probably make the kick, post it to YouTube. You can go head out right now. Who knows? Who knows? But hey,
Appreciate you, brother.
appreciate you, Bobby.
I'll let you two get after it. You already know that's going.
Oh shoot, he already on the line. Hey, I'm about to leave right now.
Later, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Jeff Trez thinking he just gets like lifetime caller access. Is that what he's doing now? D-Rod, what's up, man? Bobby, you a real one. LOL. Respect, brother. But at the we joke at the end of the day, but we're all family here, man. Love the chat and the content. Hashtag Bobby Baltimore. Appreciate it, D-Rod. And I echo those sentiments. It's all fun from an entertainment perspective. Sarcasm sometimes, spirited me sometimes, angry, frustrated me, exhausted me. You get a little bit of everything in here. Thanks for the super chat, man. The world class, Mr. Noble Miguel. Did I get that right? You're currently muted.
Yeah, I'm up.
The studio setup you got going on right now.
Yeah, I do YouTube too. I've been watching you for a minute.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, you're first time caller. I always love that. What you got going on? Where are you calling in from?
Baltimore.
Nice.
Been watching you for a minute. And what I want, guys, what I want the fan base to remember is that we have this kid. You may have heard of him. His name is Keaton Mitchell. He was. I think he averaged about 8 yards a carry last year before he got injured. Do you remember? It was
a nice number. It was a nice number.
And I'm frustrated. I mean, I was watching when Dre was talking. I'm frustrated with how they've been developing receivers at the same time. But we got to remember, those of us that play football, when you run these numbers off, you would rather deal with the. Y'all got to understand, right? What we know that Keaton Mitchell can do, we are still running. What is it? Greatest show on turf numbers without him, without that production, without that level of production. TJ Watt is not walking into the meeting rooms this week talking about, I sure hope they don't throw it to Tez Walker. What he's thinking about is they have a 250-pound running back that runs 22 miles an hour. They have a quarterback that has 4.2 speed. They have a guy in Keaton Mitchell, if he's healthy. Now, I'm saying it to compare to Tez Walker and Keaton Mitchell comparison. I want to see Tez Walker do well. I'm excited about him as well. But as a person that played football, I played in high school, I would rather see the 99 Rams before I want to see this team. You got those two. Then you have a 300-pound fullback. Then you have a 6'9", 385-pound right tackle, a center that's probably the best in the league, a Hall of Fame left tackle, and a right tackle that's on his way to get to the Pro Bowl. And then you got
Ronnie Hall of Fame.
Ron, yeah. He gets it on.
2019 maybe, but
yeah. He'll take him a little bit. Plus, I think he'll make this year. He'll make the Pro Bowl this year. I think he'll put on another. You think we'll keep him?
He's done enough. I'm not sure about Canton. I mean, he's definitely deserving of an extension.
But I think he'll have a better. I think he'll put on another good 4 or 5 years from here. But I don't think no defense is worried about Tez Walker.
No.
They're not.
Here's the thing though about Keaton, man. Here's the issue. Keaton is 12 months removed from a serious knee injury, right? We know that.
Yeah.
And so when they extended Justice Hill, and you've been getting this kind of production from him, not just as a situational runner, not just as a blitz pickupper, but also in the screen game as a pass catcher. Like, he's made it really hard for Keaton. Like, he is stealing single-handedly. And I shouldn't say stealing. He's earned the right, right? He's earned the right to take Keaton snaps. But I think they view him as, with Keaton, under team control. Like he was an undrafted rookie a year ago. They know he's not going anywhere. They know they have full control over him. And right now they love what they have going on with the two-headed monster of Derek and Justice.
And this is what I'm guys, that these defensive players, they understand the game of football. That what I just mentioned is with it. Then you add that up with the best tight end set in the league with a Hall of Fame. Mark Andrews is not only a top 5 tight end, receiving tight end, he's a top 5 blocking tight end when he's healthy. They're not thinking about Taz Walker. They worried about that backfield and the 250-pound running back and a kid that's even faster than Lamar. Him at his best is dangerous. He don't get injured last year. We having a different conversation. And I think I just want the fan base to stop letting Nick Wright and the mainstream sports media gaslight you. You got to look at the 2 years that we got championships. We're not the rest of these leagues. We don't need though. All respect to Dre earlier, we didn't have no great receiver in 2000 or 2012. That's not we are us. We're not them. Let us be us.
Calling Anquan though, the run that he was on.
That year, I don't think he was a top 10 receiver.
Yeah, but what did he? But what was he for them on that run? He was exactly what
you
said
on that run.
Yeah,
good.
No,
was it? But think about it. Was he that, or did it take some miracle receptions from peace be upon him? Who just passed or got 12? What's his name? Jacoby. If it wasn't for Jacoby, would we be talking about Anquan being a top receiver? We needed Anquan to do that.
I mean,
and we needed Jacoby Jones to do that.
All the games collectively down the stretch of that playoff run on the road, having a 3-headed monster of Jacoby, Anquan, and Torrey. I mean, that's just and who were their tight ends that year? Was it Heat? Did Heat win a championship with them?
No, it wasn't Heat. It was the guy in between.
Was it Dennis?
Yes, Dennis Pitta. Dennis Pitta and it was a 2-headed tight end set. It was Dennis Pitta and another guy. But you still you're talking about receiver by committee. You're not talking about no top receiver. He wasn't no top 10 receiver. He may have played that way in the playoffs because it's only 12 teams at that time.
Ed Dixon, thank you, Nigeria. Ed Dixon, Dennis Pitta.
Yeah, it was a 2. So we got the best tight end set in the league. We don't really, even now, we don't need that. And Zay's coming along. We just let us be us. Let us run the ball. We wrestled 3,000 yards.
Sorry to interrupt. I told Dre, hey, we'll revisit that next month because it's happened before in the postseason, but I'm not convinced that where they currently stand as an offensive unit, that they're not capable of getting to where they want to go. And we've seen that. They have no issue going up and down effortlessly. I mean, this is why I was a little hard on Dre. I pushed back. I was like, this is an offensive unit that ranks first overall, second on the ground, third through the air, third in scoring, second on third down, and first in the red zone. Like, Todd Monken has pushed all the right buttons for the most part. And sure, they had a little bit of drag at times in the middle part of the year when they scuffled. But this is a group that's peaking at the right time, and I believe they have everything they need.
I can agree with Dre being frustrated in certain situations with Monken.
Oh, well, definitely. And two, remember, like all the other Januaries they've been a part of, I think that's been a very much a part of the conversation. They needed a true number one. I'm not necessarily with the emergence, with the addition of King. I'm just not a believer in that, but I might be proven wrong in a month. We'll see.
That's fair enough. I just think, me personally, I think Keaton Mitchell's development is, after I've seen how Lamar's where we need him to be. I think he's the most dangerous player we've ever had after Lamar. Because from what we've seen, his development to me is more important than Tez Walker.
They want to know where your YouTube's at.
Oh, it's the channel, the World Class. I don't be talking about sports, but because I'm talking about other stuff. But I'm gonna be talking about I'm gonna be hopping up on here with you a little bit more, because I just think as a fan base we need to really pull back, kind of follow our leader Lamar, pull back from these other places, because we're being gaslit out of what we are, and we're not like the rest of these franchises. We stick to the game of football. We run the ball. We play hard defense. We want guys that's going to come out there. And obviously, I'm frustrated with that wide receiver development. It was called out. They just go by seniority. It's not a mystery. We all know. And while we're watching the Steelers decade in, decade out, just draft amazing receivers on a consistent basis, I'm frustrated. But the rest of how they draft. The Ravens top 2, top 3 best drafting team in the league. Just let's run the ball. Run the ball 45 times.
Every single year, you take the wide receiver position out. They're upper echelon every single year when it comes to drafting, scouting, developing, cultivating, so on and so forth. Appreciate the call, man. The world class. You can go check out his YouTube channel. Thanks for the call, man.
Thank you. Be safe.
Yeah, you too. Oh, Taz, I was about to pop off, but I'm going to give you some love. I've been on here for 2 hours, and I got to literally piss like a racehorse, but I know you've been – I know I could just tell seeing you in the waiting room. Mr. Taz Dixon is absolutely ready to rip it down there. I could just tell this dude's ready to give you guys a monologue that you have never heard in your lives. But before we bring him on, today is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. And I tell you what, guys, if you would do me the favor of clicking on the link that's included in the live chat as a pinned comment, I would be really appreciative. I've been working with Primary Residential Mortgage now for well over a year, and it's been an awesome experience. If you're interested in getting your home buying process started after the holidays, please do so and consider working with Primary Residential Mortgage, because they are willing to cover your closing costs up to $750 on applications that are submitted by February 9th of 2025. You can take advantage of this offer by simply applying through the PRMI Mid-Atlantic website. Just mention my name as you go throughout the process. Zach and Michael and Naz and Devin and George and Bronwyn, and they have an awesome crew. They're based in Towson. You don't need to be in the Baltimore area to be eligible for this offer. So go check it out. All that information can be found in the show notes. It's also a pinned comment in the live chat. One more call tonight. Did not expect to go 2 hours, but honestly, as it buffers just ever so slightly, that's probably a sign that I got to go get some food and piss. But Taz, welcome in, brother. Good to see you, man. Merry Christmas. What you got for me tonight?
Bobby, what's up, brother?
How you doing,
dude? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, so look, the last brother that was on, listen, he made a point or two, right? I get it, but I got to correct him on something. Anquan Bolden is one of them receivers that probably, and some people, I should be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, what he did for us while he was here, throughout his whole tenure, he was a go-get-em. You know, he may not have had the gaudy stats. He had those gaudy stats when he was with the Cardinals, but he helped us win a championship. Jacoby made the plays that are going to be most memorable, but Anquan Bolden made some of the most impactful, consistent plays game in and game out that season and throughout that playoff run. Okay. So
I think that's a great point, Taz, and I'll just add this in. I think Steve Smith gets in because he has more collective, consistent statistics for longer years than Anquan.
I agree. Oh, I agree. I agree.
Right, and you're with me on that.
I agree.
But the impact specifically to that second world championship that team brought Baltimore in the 2012-2013 season, simply put, does not happen without Anquan Bolden.
See, I look at Steve Smith Sr. as should be damn near first ballot. You see what I'm saying? I look at Anquan as somebody that has done enough in his career. You look at his stats, you look at what he's done on the teams that he's played for. He's done enough, and he's a champion. He could get in, but Steve Smith is first ballot. Now, about the things that you talked about, real quick, with Deontay Johnson, he was never a Raven, y'all. His energy when he came in the building, he was never a Raven. You feel what I'm saying? Some people, they kind of take on the personality of the team that they own. Just like how, your animal may take on your personality as an owner, those who have dogs and cats and stuff like that, right? He takes on the personality of a Steeler. He was meant to be a Steeler, and he was never a Raven. Play like a Raven really means something. He didn't fit the bill. So good written. May, God bless him, and so forth and so on. Now, I wanted to throw something out there. Anybody that ever heard me on here before, I said something the last time about that defensive front that we have. I told you when the big dogs get a little bit healthier, the pass rush would increase and the defense would become better. There's some other moves that were made in the secondary that I love that also help that. But now we're starting to look like a Ravens defense. Not fully, but we're starting to. I want to throw that out there. And about Tez Walker. Everyone, listen. Tez Walker is a great talent. He has so much upside. The good thing about this is there's not a lot of film on him. So, as a sneaky little weapon for a few shots down the field, right? Because Now Zay Flowers is gonna draw attention, right? Mark Andrews, likely they draw attention. And of course, the most attention is on that backfield. So having Taz giving him a few shots will surprise some defenses, right? But I'm not ready to jump all the way on the bandwagon and say, oh man, he's about to be that. He's about to be our number one. No, he has that type of potential for the future. But right now, that's a good little wrinkle to have to keep defenses honest that will, when he's on the field, they know that boy got speed. So now there may be one less guy in the box that will open it up for Henry and for Lamar. So Tez Walker will be more of a great decoy and a guy that you can take a shot or two down the field this week and going forward that will really help the run game be more potent. That's how you got to look at it, guys, right? Now, we going into next year, we'll see. And that's all I want to drop on y'all tonight. I'm in the car with the wife going to pick up my nephew. So I love you, Bobby. I love you guys, man. Ravens Nation, Flock Nation, Super Bowl, here we come.
Taz, I appreciate you, man. Merry Christmas to you and the missus. Safe travels out there, and give Chris what she wants on the way out right here. She wants you to hit her with a little dummy.
Oh, fuck it is, dummy.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, no doubt.
Thanks for blessing us tonight. That's what he does when he calls in. Mr. Taz Dixon. Oh, that's classic. I appreciate you guys for being with us tonight. Awesome audience. Over 1,100 of you concurrently watching right now. Fantastic participation. Please, on your way out, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell if you haven't already done so. Would love for you to subscribe. If you want to donate, you can do so through Venmo, Cash App, or the YouTube Super Chat feature. Pre-game starts at 2:30 tomorrow at the Be More Around Town tailgate lot. I would love to see you guys out there. BeMoreAroundTown.com is where you can get your passes, and consider getting those last-minute tickets, because I know Steelers country travels well. We know how that goes. That's just what they do. They take over stadiums, and that cannot be the case tomorrow, especially if you're a Baltimore fan. You do not want to see that. So I'm going to go relieve myself. I hope you guys have a fantastic night. I'm going to go watch the third and final episode of the Aaron Rodgers Netflix documentary, because I've been binging it over the last 48 hours, and it is really good. You guys know I'm an Aaron Rodgers fan because I consider myself somebody that in some cases is misunderstood as well, and also kind of is a unique thinker. I refer to myself as sort of a the zig and zagger type guy. I don't know. Aaron's not a perfect dude. And there's a reason why he's estranged from his family, and he has made some mistakes along the way and certainly fired some coaches indirectly. But there's something about him that his authenticity is second to none. And I think that you'll walk away with that if you pop up the doc. Don't always believe what you say, what you see in the clips. Don't always believe what you see in certain interviews. It's and of course, this is a Netflix documentary that he was heavily a part of. So you got to keep that in mind. Which I've been trying to do, viewing it balanced as I kind of give it feedback and critique it. But that's what I'm going to do tonight and get some sleep. And obviously tomorrow, without question, nothing else needs to be said. AFC North titles on the line, 2:30 pregame, 4:30 kickoff. Sarah and I will be postgame around 8:30. I'll catch up with you guys then. Later.